Hey team, this is a quick little lesson about how to find the area of composite shapes, especially focusing on the dividing up the shapes into shapes that we already know. So the shapes that we're going to focus on today are the typical ones, rectangle and square. Now these two both have the same formula to find the area. And in order to find the area of these shapes, we calculate it by doing the length times the width. Now this shouldn't be new to you. This should be something that's familiar that you have done before. I'll show you a quick example. So here is a rectangle. You can see down the side, I've got 2 squares. And on the length, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so if I was to work out the area of this rectangle, I just need to do 5 times 2, and I get the answer 10. And it's actually, if it was centimeters, it would say just like that. And then because it's squared, there's squares on the inside, it's centimeter squared. So inside my rectangle, I have 10 squares, which gives me the area of that rectangle. Every time we have area, guys, you need to remember to put the squared at the top. That is crucial for area, because otherwise I don't know that you're measuring the inside of a shape. Okay, now this is something that might be new to some of you. When we're looking at the areas of triangles, we have the same formula that applies for all triangles. Okay, and this works for every single triangle, and you'll be able to use this formula throughout high school and any maths in the future. So the formula is the height. I'm actually going to do the base. I'm going to do the base multiplied by the height of the triangle. Okay, and then divide our answer by 2. This will make sense in a second. If I have a triangle like this, this is a right-angled triangle because I have a right angle in the corner. Oops, Miss Hodge made that a bit long. Let's pretend it finishes there, okay? Just like that. How do I write that without being annoying? Yeah, thank you. Sorry, guys. Okay, so here is my right-angled triangle. You can see that I've got 3 squares going from my height. So that's 3. And then down the bottom, which is my base, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so these are my 2 measurements, and it works just like we did before. We need to times them together. So we have 3 times 6. And then we need to divide our answer by 2. Okay, we know 3 times 6 is 18. So 18 divided by 2. This is me just working down. And then underneath, I know the answer is 9. Now I need to do centimeters squared. Obviously, this is called centimeters. This is also called centimeters. Okay, I'm just going to show you something really quickly before I move on. I'm just going to move this over here. Okay, so the reason being we times them both by themselves and then divide by 2 is that a triangle is actually half of a rectangle or a square most of the time. That's why we always divide by 2. Now, the word here, height and base, they can be interchangeable because you might come across triangles that are a bit different, like this one. Sorry about my imperfect drawings, but you know, that's okay. So this, for example, down here is my base. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But now I actually don't know where my height is. If anyone can see my height, can they please have a go? Now, this is the tricky part. This is my height down here, the middle of my triangle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my height for this particular triangle is 5 centimeters and my base is 6 centimeters. Okay, so you can see how the different positions of the base and the height can look different in the two different triangles, but you can use the same formula. So again, I would do 5 times 6, and then I would divide it by 2, and I would get my answer. 5 times 6 is 30, 30 and a half is 15, so my answer is 15 centimeters squared. Again, this is crucial, obviously, for when you're doing area, so that you know that you've covered the inside of the shape. Okay, I'm just going to bring your attention to one of the questions here. I want you to find the area inside this whole shape, but what you're going to do is you're going to do it in parts, okay? The first part is going to be dividing up the shape. I would probably divide it up like this. Cut it in half, split it like this. Then you've got yourselves 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles and 2 squares, okay? And then obviously you would just have to add up all of your totals together to get the total area inside the shape. Now, I'm just going to work out one area of the triangle, and that's going to be this one. So it's going to be 1 on my base and then 2 squares on my height. So that is 1 times 2, and then I need to divide it by 2. 1 times 2 is 2. Half of 2 is 1, so that is 1 centimeter squared. Now, if you are looking at this closely, this particular part of the triangle actually fits perfectly in here if it was rotated around. Okay, so that means that our triangle is exactly 1 centimeter squared, which is just one of these boxes. That's pretty cool, isn't it? So that's another way that you can actually look at it and visualize. You can see, oh, actually that square does look like that triangle, is just 1 centimeter squared, and I can work that out by measuring it or doing the formula. So I would really love you to use your knowledge now to calculate the area of all 4 of these shapes. You'll have to divide them up into the different shapes like triangles, squares or rectangles, but it should be easy for you to come up with the total. Thank you so much for listening, and